Hello, my name is Sir Lord Reginald Trevor Evans III, world-renowned film critic and filmmaker. You've probably heard of me from my illustrious career, working on films such as Shawshank Redemption, Citizen Kane, The Godfather, and most importantly, my cinematic masterpiece, The Emoji Movie. Most importantly, I've decided to revive this here YouTube channel, which used to be full of cringy Minecraft content, which is all now privated and unviewable. From here on out, I will be making various short films, tech reviews, and, most importantly, very important film reviews in the form of cinema talk. Because everybody knows, my opinion is more important than everyone else's. So join me in an adventure through cinema. Thank you. Woo! Okay, let's get this one going. Don't need that anymore. Okay, so this video is basically going to be about my rating system for cinema talk. I've seen your comments. I've seen you guys commenting. Don't worry. I can see. There's like 2 of them, but I've seen them. I've seen them. A couple people commenting. What is your rating system? You know, I've only had a few cinema talk videos, so people don't really know how to gauge my rating system. I gave this movie here a 3. Why did I do that? I gave this movie here a 9. That's so polarizing. Why exactly did I do that? So this video is to help you guys out. Kind of talk about my rating system. What I mean by that is like the numbers that I've rated different movies on IMDb, like 1 through 10. You'll see. Let's just get on to the first one. Disclaimer. It is important to note that, as I have said before, I am a very, very critical person when it comes to films. I don't view films like the average moviegoer. When I go see a film, I'm just naturally critiquing it in my head and listening to all the bad and the good, and then coming up with whatever the rating is when I'm seeing it. So just know, I'm very critical. If you're like, why is that movie so, why is that so low? What the heck? Well, that's probably because of how critical I am. So please don't be offended by any of my ratings. Okay, let's get back to it. 6. So the reason I'm starting with 6 is because 6 is kind of my baseline for like a solid movie, just a kind of solidly well-made movie. A 6 out of 10, a movie that I gave 6 out of 10 personally was Crazy Rich Asians. I like this movie. I thought it was just pretty basic. Basically for me, if I rate a movie a 6 out of 10 is basically just, you made a movie, it was successful, it wasn't really that bad, it wasn't really that good, it's kind of in the middle. I know 5 should be in the middle, but for me 6 is in the middle because I'm kind of critical. So if it's a little above the middle, that's kind of where my my baseline is. So a 6 out of 10 is kind of just like, you made a movie and it worked for the most part. 5. So I'm going to start to go down now in ratings because I kind of start with my middle ground. I'm going to go to the worst side and then I'm going to end with the better movies. So for a movie that I gave a number 5, I actually gave Love, Simon a 5. My rating system for giving a movie a 5 out of 10 is basically, it's a little lower than my solid, so we kind of start getting down into it's not that great of a movie. For me, a 5 out of 10 is basically, it's kind of more of like a meh movie. Like, I didn't really think it was that bad, but overall I didn't really enjoy it that much. I think there were some good things about it, but overall, yeah, it's just kind of like a meh movie to me. 4? Oh, right, the rating system of 4, basically, if I give a movie a 4, that's when we starting to get into like, starting to consider it a bad movie. That's like my level of like, okay, now I'm really not liking them. A movie that I gave a 4 was actually Justice League. Once again, there are some things that I like about it. It's clear that some people in whoever was making the movie, some of them clearly wanted to make a good film. A lot of other things just really flopped. This is kind of when we start to get towards what I consider to be more like bad movies. 3. Okay, so the reason that I would give a movie a 3 out of 10, this is kind of like my basis for what I consider a bad movie. I really didn't enjoy most of it. Obviously, it's not a 1 out of 10, so there are some things that I enjoyed. I thought some things were good. An example of this is, of course, The Mule. If you haven't seen the cinema talk for it, then go ahead and click onto that video after this one. It should be the first video on this this channel. But yeah, 3 out of 10 is basically my basis for a bad movie. I didn't enjoy it. There were some things that weren't too bad about it, but overall I just didn't really like it. 2. Okay, so a movie pretty much gets a 2 out of 10 rating if I kind of consider that this starts to get into the range of a very bad movie. It's not totally horrible, like a 1 out of 10. Maybe I enjoyed it a little bit. For some reason, maybe it was like so bad that it's funny, something like that. But a 2 out of 10 for the most part, I consider a very bad movie. An example of a movie that I gave a 2 out of 10 is actually Jigsaw, that came out 2018. This is a very bad movie, but it's a solid movie, so there's still some entertainment, gore and blood, really that's it. A 2 out of 10 is basically a very bad movie. A 1. Okay, here we go. A movie gets a 1 out of 10 if I consider it an absolutely horrible movie. It's very, very hard for a movie to get a 1 out of 10 unless you basically don't make a movie. If everything just falls apart, it's completely horrible. It's just, I don't understand any part of it. It's clear, it's just, there's no redeeming qualities whatsoever. It's absolutely horrible. It has no props whatsoever. It's the lowest rating, a 1 out of 10. An example of a film that I gave a 1 out of 10, Love on a Leash. Have you heard of this film? I hope not. Don't ever watch it. Erase the fact that I just said it from your memory. Don't even think about it. A 1 out of 10 is as horrible as it can be. Also, a quick side note, I've only given 2 movies a 1 out of 10. That's Love on a Leash and After Last Season. I think that's the name of that movie. So, absolutely horrid films. So, you won't see a lot of 1 out of 10s, hopefully. 7. Now we get on to what I consider to be good movies. But they start to get pretty good from here on out. A 7 out of 10. The reason I'll give a film a 7 out of 10, I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was anything special by any means. It's a little above 6 because you made a movie that was pretty good, just like 6, except now it's pretty entertaining. I like what goes on with it. It's just this is a good movie for me. I enjoyed it. I don't have any really bad critiques. Of course, it's not perfect. I have a couple critiques. Nothing totally horrible. An example of a movie that I gave a 7 out of 10 right there is actually It. If you can't see it there, here's the movie poster right there. It got a 7 out of 10 for me. 7 out of 10. I enjoyed the movie. It's a good movie. Nice job. 8. Now is when we start getting into what I consider to be very good films. An 8 out of 10. This is a very good movie. Pretty much everything worked. It just wasn't that special. It didn't have that edge that made it something that I feel like I would never be able to see again. An 8 out of 10 is a very good film. I enjoyed it. I just absolutely enjoyed it. I did have some flaws with it. It wasn't too perfect, but I normally loved it a lot, or it was a very well done film. Just not perfect. Probably, maybe not gonna win Best Picture, but we'll see. An example of a film that I gave an 8 out of 10, you probably saw a couple episodes ago. You should watch it, is Bad Times at the Royale. That was a very good movie. I loved it a lot. Only a couple issues with it. Another example is Hereditary. Also came out last year. This was a very good film. I can't rave about it enough. Of course, once again, it wasn't perfect. I feel like I couldn't ever see a movie that's just as good as it again. So 8 out of 10, very good movies. Nice. 9. A 9 out of 10. This is when I start considering movies to be pretty much perfect. I love them so much. They're incredibly entertaining. These are just insanely good movies. The reason that I don't give them a 10 is because they're just not like one in a lifetime movies that I feel like I could never that just changes my outlook on film as a whole. They're just not that special, but a 9 out of 10 is incredibly good. Almost the best score I can give it. If I give a movie a 9 out of 10, seriously know that it's a very incredibly good movie. You have to see it. An example of this is, of course, a movie that I just rated at Cinema Talk. Spider-Verse. This is such a good movie. I loved it so much. A couple more examples. Philadelphia, if you haven't seen that. A Quiet Place, Shape of Water. E.T., Call Me By Your Name. Lots of very, very good films. They're just not quite absolutely special. 10. So that brings us to my number one rating, a 10 out of 10. This is basically impossible to get. Seriously, it's incredibly difficult for a movie to get a 10 out of 10 for me. Like I said, I'm a very critical person. A 10 out of 10 is just absolutely insane. Like, this is a life-changing movie, a movie that I feel if you see this, your outlook on film and movies and storytelling and just your life in general will change after watching these. So that's why movies that I think are perfect, but they just don't really change my life in such a big way, they get a 9. But a movie that I believe is just so perfect, so incredible, you have to see it no matter what, because it will literally change the way you live. That's when a movie gets a 10 out of 10. A couple examples of this: Shawshank Redemption, The Godfather, Silence of the Lambs, Saving Private Ryan, Psycho, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. These are all films that I believe are literally life-changing once you see them. The most recent one, of course, being 3 Billboards. That's the last movie that I've ever seen that gave me a 10 out of 10. Didn't see any in 2018. Also didn't see enough movies in 2018, but still, these are all incredibly, incredibly good movies that will literally change your life. If I give a movie a 10 out of 10, that's how you know you have to see it no matter what. Go out of your way to see it. I don't care where you are. If it's in box office, get up from your work, if you're sitting at your computer, whatever it is, go straight to the movies, straight to the box office, buy that ticket, and change your life forever. So, I hope you all enjoyed. This was kind of pretty quick, fast-paced. I kind of wanted to change things. The cinema talks are normally just me sitting in a chair talking. I kind of wanted to make it faster and more editing and stuff like that, so it kind of makes it easier and more fun to watch. This video did definitely take a little longer to make than the normal cinema talks, that's for sure. I hope you guys kind of understand my rating system now, 1 through 10, why I rate movies how I do. It should make it a lot easier now. It should make it more fun. It kind of puts it into perspective. Me as a filmmaker, and like I said before, I am very, very critical when it comes to film. I'm a huge critic, so the higher the score a movie gets, the better that I really think it is, of course. But thank you all so much for watching. This is a different video. I hope it turns out well afterwards. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe if you quite have not done that yet. We got more coming on the way, so I'll see you guys later.